back.
Elrond.
What episode are we on, Steven? Episode 8 here?
How many freaking fingers am I holding up? It's 8.
I think I see 8.
Or is it 420?
Hey, happy holiday, everyone, to those who celebrate. I'm not saying that I do. I just know that it's a thing. Anyways, though, we're coming back from quite a strong previous episode, I might say.
I would say so. Definitely the best in our podcast history.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't watched before, we recently just got, let's see, I just checked, I think it was 23 days ago, we got done posting our interview with Edward Winichi, CEO and co-founder of ZoidPay. And for those of you watching Podcast Elrond, you probably know what ZoidPay is. It's an ESDT token listed on the Maiar exchange, and you can get it from several other exchanges right now, which is pretty cool. I think they actually recently listed themselves on a couple of exchanges here in the past couple weeks/months.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could watch back the interview, and it'll be interesting to see. It always seems to be interesting how those addings to the centralized exchanges go out. But I think that they're up to either 8, 9, or maybe even 10 centralized exchanges that they have planned. Does that sound right to you, Alec?
I'm not quite sure on the number. I know they have a really detailed roadmap on their website.
Yeah.
I think it's just ZoidPay.com, and the roadmap is pretty easy to find up there on the top, and it'll tell you everything about it. But back to the episode, dude. I think we're sitting at 3.5K views.
Hell yeah.
244 subscribers in the past 28 days alone.
Wow. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome.
Yeah. A big thank you to everyone out there. Yeah, it's freaking remarkable, I have to say.
Totally.
As you said, dude, it's our best video ever.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with what we're bringing to the audience here. And of course, I think it also says something about Elrond network and also, ZoidPay. It seems as though people are pretty thirsty, pretty interested in what's going on here.
Dude, I think the thirst for ZoidPay is pretty real. I'm sure you have been watching what has been happening lately.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. I think ZoidPay was at around 24 cents when we did our podcast.
Yeah,
and now
let's see.
She is sitting at a healthy 78 cents right now.
Yeah, well, I've got the live view pulled up on Arda, and it's at 82 cents.
Oh.
And our interview was on the 28th of March, and yeah, the price was like 28 cents. So I foresaw that Edward would be given some good information during that interview, so I took a position in ZPay a day before we even shot that interview. Edward gave us so much good information there. It really just spotlighted what ZoidPay is doing. Always want to be cautious. Oh, should we buy? Should we wait to go lower? I think that there is a lot of reasons that ZoidPay will continue to grow from here. Will it go down? Will it go up? I'm not sure, but what are your thoughts on making buying or selling decisions with ZoidPay right now, Alex?
So lately, let me give you a little bit of background on how I have been purchasing ZoidPay as well. I foolishly didn't buy any before our podcast because I just wasn't allocating my rewards towards anything else other than gaining more e-gold. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize the latent potential behind ZoidPay. And so I started buying again around 33 cents, which, you know what? I'll take that compared to what it is right now.
81 cents.
Yeah, dude. I started loading up around 33, 35, and 37 cents.
Very nice.
And then I remember checking back one day and I started loading up again around 60 cents. So what I've been doing to do that is I re-entered all my LP positions. I don't know if I've went over that.
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't it so interesting how as we approached the DEX launch, we kind of all, figured we'd all filter in a similar strategy, but so many different doors have opened up, and I'm curious actually just kind of start from scratch and hear what you're doing with your farming, Alec. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I was recently participating full tilt into Metabonding. So that means I had all my e-gold staked and I had all my MEX staked within the Metabonding pools to receive those rewards. And then I was like, you know what? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when you say MEX, do you mean that did you buy any MEX token versus locked MEX, or did you transfer all your liquidity to Eagle to stake, and all of your locked MEX was in metabonding?
Yes. So
Okay,
I unpaired my original Eagle locked max liquidity tokens, and that's what I put
all
into
of
both
them.
of those. All of them. Yep.
Dang.
So that's what I put into both of those farms. I was like, let's do this thing. And then I
Yeah.
started reading Twitter threads about how abysmal the return is on this stuff.
And those were kind of guesses at that time, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
And I haven't read up uh, any recent things. Have you, about what the actual percentage is of this?
I mean, and I think that's what turned me off to it from the start. I didn't participate in metabonding at all. Zero lock MEX, zero Elrond. And exactly kind of what you just kind of questioned there was metabonding and is a spot where, it's so variable. It has to do with those snapshots that's being staked. So there's literally like no visibility. I think visibility is a better word. And I don't think that will change either.
Yeah, I don't think it will either. So that was part of the reason why I pulled my stuff out.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and repaired my LP tokens. And let me go ahead and say that one of the reasons I decided to go full tilt into meta bonding is because I was sick of impermanent loss. Like, it was really like it was
Interesting.
yeah, I was tired of seeing my eagle just wear away.
Mm-hmm.
No, even though I technically still have the same amount once all my locked mechs unlocks, because I can swap it back because it's still a 1-to-1 ratio, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I did that, but then I re-entered my LP positions. And now I haven't really been suffering any impermanent loss.
That's
lately.
awesome to hear.
Yeah, obviously it's a hot debate topic on my Twitter
Yeah, man.
post that I made. So
Yeah, I just envisioned you just like waltzing around like, oh, look at that. Like my impermanent loss is doing better. And then, some random people like myself chime in and you look at it like in a couple hours or the next morning. It's just like, what the hell happened? What did I do?
to be honest, like when I sent that tweet, I was just sitting on the.
Could you share what the tweet was?
I said, it's really nice to see Eagled and Mex heading in the same direction. Way less worried about impermanent loss than I used to be. And then people just started having debates about Eagled Mex and the Mex utility. And I was like, guys, I'm just happy about not having impermanent loss.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa, like, it's like, what did I do? I didn't mean to do this. It just, like I said, just so innocently just waltzing around like, yippee. The next thing you know, just the floodgates are unleashed.
Yeah, dude, it's been fun. I haven't been participating in Twitter as much, but I feel like sometimes when I do, I'm able to get these great engagement posts, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the people like to hear from you, and I think that you have a lot of thoughts, and maybe I think that could be why certain people even value podcast Elrond all the more, is because they get a look to see exactly what Alec is thinking, whereas for me, on the other hand, it's like I basically have just a random thought and I feel the need to tweet it.
Oh, don't you dare put yourself down, Steven. People love your analytics, bro. Everyone loves to hear it.
But do they love my opinions and my decisions is a better question.
Apparently, some of the bigger influencers in the Elrond space don't.
I find the word influencer frustrating because my job as I see it is in fact the opposite of influence. I want to try to, say why I'm invested in Elrond, but, in a way like the NFA disclaimer, not financial advice, is essentially me being, and I mean, I mentioned this, I know there was a million posts on the replies to your tweet, Alec, but I think that I did, talk a little bit about it in defense of myself. Was it like, my name is like the economistic. I use this metaphor of this crystal ball and how nobody can tell the future, because that's exactly what I see trading and investing is everybody going around and, holding their stances high And like it's like I'm here to hold my stance high and argue what I believe in, but at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna like try to pull out my crystal ball and be like, just look into it and you'll understand. It's like, bro, like if I influence you, not you, Alec, but if I influence anybody, then just like unfollow me, because like I'm a lot of what I say can be outspoken, and that reflects on my personality in the real world. Like, I'm a lover, but I like to debate as long as, keyword, as long as there can be a two-way street of communication where on the posts, the replies, the rebuttal, the debate, whatever you want to call it, it to me did not feel like a conversation. It felt like a lecture, and an unsolicited one at that. And it felt as though it was just to drag my opinions and some others' opinions through the mud. And it's just like, what's the debate? What are we talking about here? Are people just feeling inclined to, stand up for MEX and explain MEX? Is that what's being debated here?
It kind of seems that way at some points, man. It seems like there's I don't want to call it hopium, but sometimes it feels like hopium around MEX, because like people are saying there's one camp who says we need utility, show us the utility. You guys said this is first class citizen. And then there's another camp who's like, wait, just hold on. The team knows what they're doing. You got to just wait it out. And this is a long-term hold, you know? So like, it's definitely an interesting debate, and I'm glad that you also put out there that you're here for, as you say, education purposes, and your Twitter handle is The Economistic, because like you're kind of just theorizing about it. And I think there's also this, as
thanks by the way, I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, of course, man. I see you that way, and I read your threads for educating myself. I don't always. I see it as Steven's opinion, and sometimes I think Steven has a really great opinion, and sometimes I don't jump into other things because I have a different one. And I think there's this culture out there in the investing world as a whole to just look to one person, and just take their word as gold. And some people got to realize that we're all human.
Yeah, it's just kind of what you get whenever you use free speech and you put your thoughts out there. Like sometimes you might literally be miscommunicating and like you aren't understanding the depths of what you're saying. Other times, like other people might, kind of inflict their own misunderstanding, because I don't feel like I've ever made recommendations or given true financial advice. And that's what bothers me, is that was even kind of accused of me. It's like, I like, Alec, you know my thoughts, and you've been with this podcast since day one. Through everything, and specifically with MEX, have I ever said the decision for everybody should be sell your MEX, don't buy MEX, and this is why? But I feel like that's how I've been treated.
Not at all, dude. You can literally go and look back at some of our podcasts. I think it's the collaboration podcast that we did with Crustless Crypto and Go Guy Go.
Oh yeah,
where I'm talking about selling all my locked MEX.
I've totally forgot about my reaction to you doing that in the video. It's
exactly.
Like I have been a proponent of MEX and MEX since day one, and the very, 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 very first reply that I made to your tweet yesterday talked about, a short, brief history of, I hoped for it to turn around. And then I basically just say that I just want my liquidity to be elsewhere. And even in that tweet, I still talk about how MEX and MEX are good moves. Like, again, it's just a lesson for me to, if I'm going to say something that could be controversial or misinterpreted, like, just think twice before you send, the message.
Me, on the other hand, dude, fuck it. Just say it.
Well, what were you about to say about the Crustless Crypto and Go Guy Go interview about your MEX comment?
So, like, I remember saying, I think I'm going to sell all my locked MEX after this, when it was at a $900,000 or 900,000 MEX per e-gold. And then you had like a reply of, think it over, man. Think about what you're doing. MEX is a baby. And like you gave me both sides of the coin, and you weren't telling me to do either or. So anyone who accuses you of that, I say they're wrong, Steven.
Thanks, man. Like, I'm the type of person that believes whether it's politically speaking or, politically, Maiar DEX related, I believe that there is a middle ground for everybody to live happily in, and there's no opinion or stance of mine that is so strong that I'm not willing to, as you said, kind of like, share both sides of the coin. Especially when everything is so transparent. Like, imagine if I just like clearly put all of my money in one spot, and then like all of my tweets and all of my analysts were just like just clearly misrepresenting the story for my own financial gain. Like, that's not what I'm interested in basically at all. Like, I'm trying to store my wealth. I'm not trying to like use my followers or deceive people. Like, as much as it's sometimes hard for me to put across, like, it really is all love, but sometimes my heart gets too big and it bursts a little bit.
It's all good, dude. It's just good that you're putting that out there.
Yeah. Anyway.
But back to MEX and locked MEX. I'm still thankful for the rewards. As I was saying earlier, I have re-entered my LP position, and now I take all those rewards. Not financial advice, by the way. I take all those rewards and go to LockMex Exchange and exchange it out every single day, and then I'm buying ZoidPay with them. I keep swapping it out every day for ZoidPay.
Yeah.
I think it's good to keep building the bag. I see that coin going over $1 eventually.
Oh my gosh! Like, it's knocking on the door, right? 80 cents after a run up from essentially 30 to 80, and I think the biggest key about that ZoidPay, so you have freaking Metastaking, and it's attracted capital, and then the shopping pools too require 100,000 ZoidPay, and that whitelist is actually live right now.
Oh, yeah, the whitelist is live, and I believe it's a public sale today to get those other 50 spots, because yesterday you were able to join the whitelist if you already had 100,000 ZoidPay, or no. I can't remember the exact terms, but I just know that the public sale is today, and I don't know if they've sold out yet, but I imagine they're close to doing it. When Edward told us about what the shopping pools are going to give to the owners of the shopping pool, it sounds really nice.
Yeah. So whenever we were doing that interview and even afterwards, I misunderstood Edward when he said that you must have all of these ZoidPay 100,000 staked for 1 year to get a shopping pool, because I interpreted him to mean that first you must stake for 1 year and then you can get a shopping pool. And I was like, I guess I didn't want to like say anything, because it was just kind of like like that seems like a miss. Like, you're gonna like,
I'm too late.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I want it now. Like, I don't want to wait a year from now. So I was kind of hitting myself because of how silly that misunderstanding was.
Yeah, dude, the shopping pools seem really sick. What makes you most excited about the ZoidPay project as a whole, dude?
Gosh, truthfully, the fact that it's built on Elrond is, I think is the number one hit. But the second is really just, I'm pretty interested and excited to see just the ZoidPay ecosystem unfold. They're talking about the NFTs they're putting out, the Zoidsters. They're talking about a brand new token, the WAND token, WAND, which will provide, as we talked about in the interview with Edward, essentially just like perks that allow you to, level up your staking. And then also too, there's the element of a certain threshold of ZPay ownership earns you a ratio of liquidity to LockMex that you can liquidate, I understand. So I would just say, from a high standpoint, gosh, very difficult for me to answer with one question. So I'll just say just the whole ecosystem. Like, Elrond is a really incredible token, but think about what MEX is, not Maiar Exchange, but the MEX token and LockMex, and then just think, in my opinion, the way I see it is, well, ZoidPay is essentially just like a Maiar Exchange, but they're just gonna use their token for different utilities. So I mean, it's just I think it's really cool.
Yeah, dude, it's really sick to see that it migrated over to the Elrond ecosystem because of the fact that it's going to be super fast transactions, cheap transactions, and everything is just going to flow so well as it has been already with ZoidPay. I mean, the ecosystem is going to grow a lot. They say they're going to have these non-KYC cards that you can use to spend crypto. I mean, that's a big effing deal, man. And it has a pretty high spending limit as well.
If I remember correctly, it was maybe $3,000 to $5,000 monthly. I can't, or maybe it was less than that. Do you remember what the KYC would have earned you in terms of the card usage? Or the non-KYC, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm not recalling it as well. I'm just going to have to go back and watch it. But I know it's going to be cool, man. They got a lot of dope stuff coming. And as he announced on the podcast, they bought a bank. I mean...
Yeah, the bank sounds like it's basically a done deal. I don't think he would be announcing it if it was like, super in the beginning stages, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's pretty much a done deal. And what I find kind of crazy is the fact that we're going to get a card from ZoidPay probably before Elrond ever releases a card. And, Elrond purchased a bank a while ago too. And I'm just surprised at how quick ZoidPay is able to move. And I haven't heard anything from Elrond about a card or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely the most relevant information we've gotten about or kind of green lights for the card is just that TwistPay being approved by the Romanian central bank. So yeah, you're kind of right. It seems like Elrond has been quiet, but I'll leave it at that to kind of give you some time to respond there. Do you think that Elrond has been quiet? Are you feeling nervous or anything like that?
I'm not nervous, but I 100% agree they have been quiet. I mean, there has been big news that has happened. Quite a few. They've released quite a few articles in the past 2-3 weeks about the big things that they're doing. But yeah, we haven't had a town hall in a while.
I genuinely miss, like, not even completely aside from like the information we get, like the camaraderie and excitement that town halls get makes it feel so real, and I miss them.
Yeah, dude. Like, I was expecting one for the Metabonding and stuff, but like there just hasn't been one since the Hollow Ride.
Give us a town hall. I want to be, we're here. We want to join in on the fun.
I love watching that stuff, man. I really love watching it.
For some reason, maybe I just saw how regularly they were being put out surrounding the Maiar DEX launch. For some reason, it led me to believe that was going to be consistent. Like, literally, like, to the extent of, like, I thought it was going to be an every week thing. Like, I was totally excited for that to be like an every week thing.
You and me both, bro. All right, guys.
Hello.
All right, guys. Welcome back. Sorry, we had to restart our cameras. Stupid 30-minute cap. Anyways, besides the point, we were just going over like the stuff that's new in the ecosystem, how we miss the town halls and stuff. But they have been releasing things on their blog, such as the ETHEUM token listing, bro. That's one of the newer things that they've released on the blog.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot to discuss about that, depending on how familiar you are with that price discovery model.
I am completely unfamiliar. I know price discovery begins on the 25th of April, and if you have some insight, I would absolutely love you to share it because it was really confusing when I tried reading it.
Oh, yeah. I am not embarrassed at all to admit that reading stuff is sometimes hard for me to follow, but also it's just highly disengaging. I found an awesome video, very short, maybe 3 or 4 minutes by, I think it's like Carpathian Stake. The knowledge that I learned there was everything that I've discovered so far. Alec and I were both traveling over the past 2 weeks, plus the fact that US customers aren't involved in the Maiar launchpad because of the way the KYC ineligibility. I don't know much about what strategies people might be discussing, but in short, I guess the one takeaway that I'll provide here, there is a 1000% APR possibility in this entire price discovery. So I'll add some value here just by kind of attacking some FUD that could come out of it. Firstly, like, I would say that this price discovery being completely brand new, unprecedented, both in the Maiar exchange or anywhere else, tread lightly. Alec and I obviously both saw the ride listing, and we all saw what happened with the ride listing. And not gonna get back into that. I think that the takeaway is to tread lightly, to be careful, and think about how on paper how simple the ride listing was going to be, and because it was so simple, so many people made these expectations. And despite how simple and obvious the gains or whatever you were expecting were going to be, look how many people like just got wrecked, or burnt, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah.
the moment that you really think something is blatant or obvious or guaranteed, like, at that point it's a little bit too late, because at that point, like, it just takes it going the wrong way to realize that you were blindsided. And is that not just a lesson about life itself? Like,
For sure, dude.
Totally. And so think about how simple the ride listing was going to be, and think about how freaking complicated this price discovery is on ITHEUM. And so to juxtapose those two scenarios leads me to believe that, almost, it's a token listing, so it's very different, but it's almost as if, I want to say, approach investing or participating in the ITHEUM in the same way we approached metabonding, and that was essentially zero visibility. And yes, they are not the same, because we have visibility here, but numbers and expectations can be deceiving. So that's why I say, like, maybe just dumb it down a great deal, and almost just like approach the entire price discovery as if it's metabonding. It's something fun, it's something new, it's something we're all getting in on, for free with metabonding. But ITHEUM obviously is real money. So yeah, like, I want everybody to be freaking like excited about these listings, because like they're so freaking dope. Like, everybody's like, oh, there aren't any good coins on the DEX. It's like, bro, like, that's because until now, Elrond didn't exist to build on, so they built on what was available.
Yeah.
The bridge is going to change some aspects of that, which is to talk about. But don't look at the projects that exist that aren't on the DEX. Like, open your eyes to literally, like, the new ones. Does that seem obvious to just me? It's like, who cares about what isn't on the DEX? Like, look what is coming to the DEX. And it's like, bro, like, Elrond is building something new, and people are like, it's like a brand new city, but they're just like up and like building skyscrapers, first come, first serve. And it's just like, all right, like, it seems as though some people who might know more have chosen Elrond for a freaking reason. Like, come on, people, I'm getting heated over here.
That's 100% obvious, and I think something that also points to that is the Skynet Eagle Capital thing that they released a couple days ago.
Come on, man. Like,
yeah,
who says that? There's some other person, like a sports broadcaster, who does a segment called Come On, Man. Fucking A.
If you haven't heard about the Skynet Eagle Capital, it's a investment, I guess an investment firm. No, I don't know what to call it.
Well, I can read the article if that helps.
Yeah.
So Alec is referring to the blog on Elrond, which, if you don't know about, it's a gold mine, essentially. You could spend the rest of your days reading all the blogs and partnerships that have developed over the past years. So the title of this is Fully Regulated Fund Skynet Eagle Capital raises $40 million plus US dollars to invest in the Elrond ecosystem. I'll just leave it at that. That's just the title of the article, and I think that it says enough.
Sounds like it's a bunch of individual parties chipping in money to raise this $40 million. I don't know exactly what they plan to do with it, but I know it's going towards the Elrond ecosystem. They called it Skynet, which is kind of funny if you know anything about
Terminator, right?
Yeah. But they keep doing like these meme names, I think, to just grab attention. Mm-hmm. And which is cool. It's a decent way to market.
Yeah. But, really, sorry to interrupt, but...
No, go ahead, dude.
No, I appreciate what you added there. I, again, just, got excited when I saw the article and failed to ask just kind of basic questions of like, what is this fund? When the announcement came out, I checked out the website, but I like what you said. I'll reiterate, was it sounds like this is just a group of people, and they've come together to, it's literally called Skynet Eagle Capital, like, and they raised money. So it literally just sounds like a collective that have, I guess, I don't know, like that's what I wanted to dive, or I'm eager to learn more about, is like, who is Skynet?
Yeah, and when are they going to dump the funds into the Elrond network? Because I haven't seen $40 million worth of Eagle scooped up.
Dude, okay, so that's a good point, for one, because it does say raises rather than raised in less than 2 weeks.
So to me, that means they're continuing to raise money.
What makes you think that?
You said in less than 2 weeks, and they say raises as if they're not done raising money.
I don't know about that. I mean, it will increase over time, as will the dollar amount USD as the price of Elrond increases. So that's what's kind of interesting here. It's like they raise the money, and at some point this 40 million is going to be on some sheet somewhere. But it's like, bro, this is why I'm dumbfounded at so much money. So many people invested in the traditional systems these days. Like, the traditional markets are just so stale. So I don't know why more people aren't moving their money into Elrond or any other cryptocurrency.
I think a lot of people are just still really scared. We're still in a discovery phase, and there's still a lot of fear and skepticism surrounding it all. And I mean, it's totally understandable. But at the same time, if you do your research, I think that fear and skepticism can fade away pretty quickly once you understand what it's trying to do. I think it's trying to be an equalizer, and I definitely see that with the Maiar exchange, with the rewards that they give. There's ways to make this thing work for you where you can make money, and it's
totally
freaking crazy. There's also, I think today, or was it yesterday, that they announced some even more exciting news, which honestly confused me more than anything. Binance is integrating the first ESDT token to be traded on the exchange, which is UTK, UTrust. And when I heard that, I was like, what about the Maiar exchange? Where is UTrust?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of questions kind of about that. I don't know if I want to get into it much, because it's kind of all just quite speculation, and the too long didn't read is like, probably don't think too much about it. Like, it probably isn't that significant, actually.
The article?
No, the fact that, so very exciting that the UTK ESDT is live on Binance. That is a lot to be excited about. That is exciting news. But on the other hand, regarding the question as to why perhaps did it get on Binance before Maiar DEX, like essentially like when DEX, when will UTK be on the DEX? I don't think that there's too much to read into there. I think that there's a lot that we could extrapolate and speculate, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's kind of like in the shadow of this good news of the token listing, or the token kind of transferring.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
When I was reading the article, I swear to God, it said something about the fact that deposits are now open on the Maiar DEX, and I was like, I don't see this here. I got the article right here.
Cool.
I don't see it anywhere. It says the UTK token sitting at the core of the UTrust payment infrastructure can now be deposited and withdrawn as an ESDT directly on the Elrond blockchain. Maybe that's just referring to the fact that Binance would be using the Elrond blockchain to do the swaps. But also, I think we need to say that I don't think it's on Binance yet specifically. I haven't been able to find it unless you have.
I think the too long didn't read is like Binance and UTK, accomplished their side of things faster than the Maiar exchange team, or you can say Elrond altogether too.
I
I
hope
mean, Is that and so okay, and this is why the extrapolation part, or where it comes from is, well, maybe they have a genuine queue of, Ethereum is the next token listing, and this is a brand new system, this, price discovery. So I'm not going to question why it's not on the DEX yet, because there's an element of there might actually be a genuine queue of token listings, and I assume that Ethereum is going to be listed under the core tokens on the DEX. So I believe that there is a queue of core, Ride being the first. It looks like Ethereum being the second. UTK, I believe, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't in those core numbers. So one, there might be a genuine queue. Two, this queue is taking more time than expected because of the Ride drama, this brand new price discovery of Ethereum. So I would take the timeline that we thought these listings would come and definitely draw it out, because it doesn't, even if the Ethereum launch goes perfectly, like, maybe, I mean, the team, of course, no matter what, is going to think about it, and they're going to evaluate if anything needs to be changed. So yeah, I think that Maiar DEX is just chugging along, like it's fighting along. But I guess I worry that enough people will start to shout about, impatience, and already some checks were not checked, I guess, on the roadmap for Q1.
Yep.
So I mean, this is where it comes down to just, hodling. We got all these people talking about hodl, and it's like holding is not super fun. Like, you're like, essentially, by holding, you've got, your money, you're holding your money up, and you're in the office with everybody, and you're saying, hurry up, like, I got my damn money waiting on you. And it's just like, okay, that cannot happen because of the importance of what's being built here, which is also, I'm not bringing it back up, but that is exactly why I gave up on my lock MEX. I did not give up on the prosperity and the future of lock MEX. I believed, I kind of guessed that the team is going to take their time on these things. And it's like, okay, I think that my liquidity could be used better in the meantime.
Yep. That's, yeah, I agree. It's nice to be able to get rid of my locked MEX and use it for things that I can see grow right away, like investing in ZoidPay early.
Totally.
And I've already seen it grow. Like, that feels better than just sitting on MEX. That's kind of,
it's doing what it is designed to do. It is the lifeblood of the exchange, and the first sentence, basically, of the tokenomics distribution says that the primary function of the MEX token is to incentivize liquidity. That, like, add everything else underneath that first bullet, that it's there to incentivize liquidity. And I think that it is doing its job whole freaking heartedly. Like, Maiar DEX has my attention. Like, it's, even though I'm swapping my locked MEX, I am accomplishing the mission of locked MEX by rerouting that money, that liquidity, back into the DEX. I'm not selling my locked MEX for cash and saving up for a Lambo. Like, and this is what bothers me, and it hurts, I'm a sensitive person, for real. Like, because people treat me like I'm doing the wrong thing, and maybe even that's a message that I'm telling myself. Who knows where that's coming from? But I don't know, like, recently I was talking on a Twitter thread, and I kind of realized it, kind of like, come on, like, I'm literally every single day, every time I farm, I am working for the team, and I am accomplishing the mission of MEX. It doesn't matter that I'm, giving up on my lock MEX. Like, if anything, like, y'all should be thanking me, like, I'm giving up my, everyone says, oh, you're taking it for a loss. It's like, yeah, I'm taking it for a loss, but I'm doing it for the team. Like, it's going back to the DEX.
Yeah, I totally get that, man. Like, same with me. I'm not using any of this to pay bills or anything. It's all primarily for just making my money work for me the best that I can, and that's why I exchange my locked MEX as well. I see it as a better investment for me to exchange that, and even though I am taking a loss, I mean, I'm exchanging it for liquid funds and watching my liquid funds grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that. What is now oh my god, it's 65%, almost 70% loss every time you exchange. It's really, really awful exchange rate, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, there's another side of it too, because on the other side, people can buy locked MEX with e-gold, and essentially on paper, US dollar wise, they multiply their holdings. So the exchange rate has, it takes a decent chunk out of our pockets for that loss, but we have to, I guess, believe or assume that there are reasons for that. They have a pretty good referral system at that exchange. The, liquidity pool itself needs to be funded. I'm not familiar. I don't know where, because, on the DEX, individual investors like you and me go forward and, we provide liquidity, and that's where the liquidity on the DEX is coming from. I am inclined to believe that the liquidity on liquidity on locked MEX exchange is this person's money on the line? Like, I don't know. I've spoken with the dev, and he's a trusted person. He sent me back a great sum of lock MEX that I sent in excess to him before the most recent update that makes it very similar to the Maiar DEX. So he's trusted, and he's just a developer. I have no idea what team is behind lock MEX exchange.
And actually, a cool feature that they added, I can't remember how long ago, is the fact that you can now exchange your locked MEX for ETHEUM.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forgot about the good point.
I haven't done it myself, but man, what's that? An itch, Alec? Yes, it is an itch, and I feel like maybe I should exchange some before price discovery happens. I mean, I don't know what price I'm getting ETHEUM at, because I guess there's a way for me to look up the price of ETHEUM and just find out what kind of loss I'd be taking.
I'm looking at it now. So right now it's I mean the only place to get it was through the locked MEX exchange.
Yeah, I don't know where else to get it.
Well, it would have been you won a ticket for the launch pad is the only other place.
So it's nowhere else.
I think so. Right now it's trading sideways in terms of US dollar between a range of 77 cents and 94 cents, which is a range of 25% give or take. So this is ETHEUM USD. I'm looking at ecompass.io. Super resourceful website there. Right now, this is before price discovery. And I just think that by engaging with ETHEUM at all at this point might be a mistake. And the main reason I say that is just what I talked about earlier, which is proceeding with caution. And because this price discovery, whole thing is brand new, I don't know, maybe all of this is only just going to just build up the pressure for even more demand anyway. I don't know, man. Obviously it's NFA. I think that it could be wise to start swapping some lock MEX for ETHEUM. Long story short.
I think it is going to be too. And it's interesting that you said 70-something cents between 90 cents too, because I swear to God, I read on here that it's going to be like the deposit. Yeah, okay. The initial equaled ETHEUM parity in the price discovery smart contract will be set to a ratio that will be equivalent to a starting price of 10 cents USD per ETHEUM. And I was like, how does that make sense if it's trading at 7? So obviously I don't understand anything about price discovery.
Cool. So remember how even for MEX, on paper, the price opened at an extremely low rate. The same thing for RIDE. So, I mean, this is where this all goes into just this mesh of smart contracts, and we don't know what's going to come out because the price is determined on the liquidity, and the slippage is being set and the amount that's being transferred back and forth. Like, bro, this is why it bothers me so much whenever people get upset at any little error with the DEX, especially whenever it's under high load. Like, bro, can you imagine the mathematical and computational mind fuck that's going on? Imagine the moment that the RIDE token launched. Like, what in the, just imagine the number of computations that was just boom, exploded,
I don't even know how the team does it. It's magic. It seems like magic for
Dude,
sure.
they just built an incredible system, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so they built obviously an incredible system, but before them, came Ethereum, and before them came Bitcoin. And it started with something simple that is Bitcoin as we know and love it today. And I mean, it's just progress. These are technological advancements.
Yeah, dude. And once these guys open up multi-sharding, and not only that, the Ethereum bridge, I, I, I
Dude,
things are gonna get truly crazy, man. I really think this bridge. I don't know, like as far as I know, it means any ERC20 token can be migrated over to Elrond. Guys, that is so much capital. That is a ridiculous amount of capital that can flood into the Elrond ecosystem.
we're at 43.5 million transactions on the Elrond blockchain. So
Wow.
if anybody ever, looks back on this, I mean, the emphasis was back to the bridge, specifically, just the total transactions. Like, people are going to see how much usage this blockchain is getting, and it's just going to be one of those other numbers in hindsight that people will be like, oh my gosh, like, can you believe how it grew? It's like, it makes sense.
Yeah, because
43.5 million.
if I'm thinking about this correctly, that means if you're able to migrate ERC20 tokens onto the Elrond ecosystem, that means you're able to trade these ERC20 tokens at extremely minimal fees. That itself is really, really enticing because
Yeah.
any ERC20 tokens, if you don't know, are built on the Ethereum blockchain. And the Ethereum blockchain is known for having extremely high gas fees. And if you're able to move these tokens over to our ecosystem and trade them with like pennies on the dollar, that it really is just going to be an avalanche at that point.
Yeah, and that relates back to some studies of Wesley Cress's that we did before the DEX launched. And the one slide comes up is talking about essentially the competitors to the DEX and, their relative market valuation. And, I can't remember each of them, Pancake Swap and Uniswap. Some of these swaps, like, is exactly what you're saying, man. Like the Ethereum ERC20 bridge. Also, I saw, it's not a leak, it was on the test net, but it looked like the swap, because it's in a testing phase right now for the community. And somebody shared a screenshot that it looks as if there won't be fees on the transaction, on the swap, on the bridge. I mean, who's to say if that was just past the threshold? But it literally said like amount of ERC20 token sent and amount to be received, and it was the same number, like no discrepancy, which leads me to. But I mean, you said it first, man. Like the ability to move these tokens over here, people will be able to interface all of these communities that exist on these tokens already. It's not like they'll ever need to question, should I go to Elrond? It's like, no, like I'm going to use the Maiar exchange and stay in my lane. I'm going to stay in my community. I'm going to stay doing my thing. But it's almost as if like, this broken down Ethereum is going into the emergency room or the operating room and is getting like a freaking like upgraded suit, and like the backbone of Ethereum itself is almost just like getting ripped out and replaced. But I mean, the big thing is that it's not Ethereum. It's literally in our conversation, it's like it's gonna come out as Elrond. Like the backbone is essentially just gonna be like, dude, why replace the backbone of a broken system when we can just replace the system altogether and then just burst open the door like the Kool-Aid Man, like Elrond logo.
Dude, it's truly is awesome, and I'm very excited for.
Kaboom!
It sounds like the final stages are really close, and it's really dope, dude.
And yeah, see, that's earlier when I was asking you about, are you getting impatient? The roadmap isn't, it's missed a few blocks. And and you actually helped me on this, and I even like used your own words on Twitter when some people expressed their frustration of the roadmap. What you said, I think in the last Elrond or podcast Elrond episode was along the lines of like, I just see, as long as it's written as they're going to do it. And you honestly, like, you kind of you built up my confidence in roadmaps and their interpretation, but then inherently on the team.
Well, I'm glad I could do so, dude. But yeah, that's just me showing my trust in the team. Yes, I exchanged my locked MEX for other things, but that's not to say I don't have trust, because I have seen the fact that this, and you were there from the beginning to witness it, the fact that what this team says they're going to do, they freaking do it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not too worried about the timeline, because I know it's a matter of time. As I've said in previous episodes, this thing's going to take off. People are going to hear about it. The team is just going to keep stepping forward, man.
Yeah. Last thing I will say about lock MEX, probably not, is that the verbiage the team uses on locked MEX, how do they say it? Do they say lock MEX is or will be the first class citizen? It's the former. They say is right now. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, the big issue with lock MEX and MEX is that like lock MEX is the first class citizen, but the first class citizen is going to continue to be bolstered. And for somebody like me, or maybe us, if you'd like to include yourself, it's like, all right, I see what you've offered as this first class citizenship, and it's not that enticing. Like the first class
100.
Citizenship,
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. It's definitely not enticing at this current moment, even with metabonding. I'm just going to stick to other things. I'm going to continue to earn locked MEX. I will continue to do so, and I will continue to utilize those rewards, because those rewards are extremely enticing. I mean, I've never I've never earned passive income like this in my life, and so I will continue to do it as long as these rewards are here, which they're supposed to be until the end of the year.
Yeah, and at that point, the lock MEX will start to hit its unlock schedule. So, and that to me is just one more thing on the list of like questions of like, what about this? It's like more unknowns, and it's. I guess, I see some people's points about, discussing this can be, confusing or something like that. But I don't know. It just seems like, lock MEX is definitely a long play. And if you aren't here to stand up for the long play, like I'll just say like 2 to 5 years, like basically just like sit down and shut up. Like, we don't care. Like, let us have our fun, kind of.
Yeah, and I still see it as a long play too, and that's why I re-entered my LP tokens. I decided not to sell my lock MEX. I figured, hey, hang on to this lock MEX, wait for unlocking. I feel like I considered it a decent amount, and I was like, that's enough for me. And so all the rest of the lock MEX is all just, it's the lock MEX that I have in my LP token is all rewards, and so I'm going to continue earning rewards with my rewards. And just swim in that, man, because I'm happy. I'm very happy doing that.
Yeah. It's really just a matter of personal preference, and each individual person gets to decide for themselves if they want to make the trade. It's like, I'm truly sorry if I, misled anybody, but to me, the Elrond was enticing, and given my point, which is extremely subjective. Like I was more interested in liquidity, which earlier, Alec, you talked about some, just some blatant benefits of liquidity. It's like, it's yours to do with what you want. You can sell it. We're not selling it for US dollar, but have some ride, have some ZoidPay, have some anything. It's cash. Like, cash is freedom, which I feel like that was like a controversial thing to say. But is it not?
It totally is freedom, dude, and that's how I see it. Yeah, exactly. I am using fucking free money to purchase liquid assets, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part that blows my mind, is that I was able to buy these new listings without ever putting in any more money. I
Yeah.
mean, where else can you say that you're every day you're taking money out and swapping it out for liquid? I'm getting paid every day. I get paid
Hmm.
every day by the Maiar exchange. I'm paying myself. It's
Yeah.
freaking crazy, bro.
Yeah. So I think that at some point it may like just genuinely makes less and less sense to consider, seriously consider that exchange rate
Yep,
because
yep.
when I sold it, it was lower than it is now. And it makes less sense to sell now than before, which I don't say that for any other reason rather than to really ask yourself, if you think it's worth it. Because, as I think that's the big kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like the invisible present underneath the Christmas tree of like, or maybe it's just like, I don't know. I just visualize people just, with this idea of what they expect LockMex to be, or what it will give them, or what it will represent, and it's more like they're waiting for a delivery in the mail, and every day they run out to the mailbox, and it's like, is it here? And I don't know. That could come at any moment, and I think that people are upset because it's just like, why are we talking about this? Like, it's irrelevant, because just do your normal thing, like find a middle ground and don't be one-sided. And that's where I faltered.
I think your word of caution is extremely important right there, Stephen. For those of you who didn't listen, rewind, listen to that again. As you were saying, the exchange rate is God. It's I think
It's
100%, like literally
one
100% worse.
it's 1 point, so you need 1.8 million lock mex for one eagled.
That's
That's what it
pretty wild.
that's what it is right
It
now.
used to be 900,000 lock mex per eagled, and now the
Yeah.
exchange rate has literally gotten 100% worse, not
Yeah.
figuratively. So yeah, do be cautious. Me for myself, I do it because I did actually think about it the other day when I saw that it was like 1.9 million lock mex for one eagle. I was like, man, Alec, do you really want to do this right
Yeah.
now? And so like I did stop, have a hesitation, but I see it as beneficial because I see ZoidPay outperforming everything right now. So that's why I continue to do so. But I think here in the near future, I will start just accumulating my locked mex again.
Yeah.
So
Well, I said it in a text to you, which is rarely the best form of communication. But I mean, I think it's even essentially like written out in the MEX, economic whatever article, is that like we are literally like MEX miners. Like we are mining locked MEX. And at some point, so moving to a Bitcoin conversation slightly, if you are running a Bitcoin, now I'm losing the terminology, but on your computer you have you're mining Bitcoin, and you see the price of Bitcoin as low, and you have all this Bitcoin that's stacking up from your mining, and it's like, I'm not going to sell here. So you literally don't sell your Bitcoin. And then once price goes up, because why? Because the supply is down. Why is the supply down? Because miners are looking at the price, and especially they're looking at the costs of their own operation. And literally, like, they can hold off adding their incredible amounts of mined Bitcoin supply to the market to increase their profit margin. So, whenever, price is at highs, the miners are probably adding a lot of supply. And all of this goes into why Bitcoin is especially volatile, but also it goes to show you the power that miners have. Because if the price is low, as it has been, like, company operations or companies operating mines are like, no, I'm not interested in selling all of this Bitcoin that I've worked hard to mine. I'll wait. And so, the equilibrium does its thing. The markets do their thing. People give their reasons for this and reasons for that. When at the end of the day, it's just some boss man selling like, no, like, we're not going to sell Bitcoin. We're not adding any supply to the market. Fuck your halving schedule. Like, it doesn't matter. All of the supply that we've mined here, like, it's not being added to supply. So you're going to have to demand a higher price if you want some. Like, it's really simple.
Yeah, all I can think of is the Leonardo DiCaprio photo where he's like, I'm not fucking selling. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. That's the kind of sentiment that I feel like is out there right now because, man,
Yeah.
Bitcoin is refusing. I mean, maybe it'll touch 39, 38 every once in a while, but it's just not. It just continues this sideways consolidation. It only means one thing, up, a huge move up or a huge move down. So it's just a matter of fucking time.
Yeah. The whole market has been just think about just the volatility, like quite literally, like just as like this big aggressive argument and all these people just getting overly like dramatic, like it's like emotionally volatile, it's like uncertain and everything, and literally the prices just tease with us. Like there's literally a puppet master, and price goes low, and then you look at the broad time frame and you're like, oh my gosh, this is it, and you visualize like just this biggest red candle that brings us to like 3K, and somehow it makes sense. It literally, you look at the charts and it's like, what, this does look like it could literally just go to zero. So at that point, maximum fear, and if you sell, that's another story, but it chugs on as far as we know it to.
She keeps chugging and it makes me proud. So you keep chugging along there, Bitcoin, and I guess we'll just see what happens in the next coming weeks because, dude, God, if you keep going sideways like this, I might lose my mind. Like, do something.
Well, it's crazy. There was an old analyst, one of the first analysts I kind of learned from, was in the middle of the last bull run, and basically he talked about how once kind of the market sentiment shifts, you'll start to see, and I think I talked about it in a previous podcast, Elrond episode, actually the one we shot just after Elrond pumped that God candle, remember, from like 170 to 240, and then now look at ZoidPay too. And I'm just saying that as the supply runs dry, as the market starts to shift, literally, like, there's going to be these impulsive spikes up. But the issue is that, like, the demand and the excitement and the true value that's being discovered in that moment does not have enough supply to, fill its need. And, so you'll get these what seem like, random pop-offs, but no, the way I see it is like, this is just the market, little pops of popcorn before the entire thing starts to roar.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, and I'm really excited for when that day comes. But, I'll sit here and I'll be okay with not having massive losses or neither massive gains right now. So,
but free money on the DEX.
Free money on the DEX, and I'll stay happy with that.
For your hard labor in the sun. You got to wash off your sunscreen at the end of every day, and I hate the smell of sunscreen for one.
I actually really love it. I put on quite a bit during my vacation that I was on and just sniffing it in.
You ever put it on like just for fun?
No.
You can be honest with us.
I haven't. I don't love it to that extent.
All right, man. Any other topics you think we need to cover in these closing moments? Episode 8?
I don't think so, dude. I think it's been a great episode with great conversation, and I'm excited to see what kind of viewership we get. Honestly, like, I'm very, very curious, and I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for all the love on the last video. It's unbelievable. It's really cool, and thank you for tuning into this video. We're excited to keep releasing more, and we hope you guys continue to like our conversations.
Absolutely. Huge thank you, as Alex said. What more is there to say?
We'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.